Oh, hello, y'alls. Bill and Val, how's it going? Mr. CB, what's up, brother? It's raining over here. I'm so upset. Britton Family Homestead. Anybody who would like to join, y'all are more than welcome. It's raining over here. I had to stop working on the raised bed, so I figured let's visit. Hadn't visited much lately. It's been work, 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 and more work. The raised beds are coming along good. We have I have the top on both of the trellises for the cucumbers, and I have 3 sides left to put on. Oh my God, it was a mess yesterday. Yeah, Bill, Val, it is. It's almost the end of the work week. It's time, but we're gonna keep pushing through. It's almost time for me to head back to work, get back on rotation. So, go out there to rest this time. But the rolled cement wire that I use for the fencing has got 6x6. Last time I bought a roll, about 8 months ago, was $75 a roll. Went yesterday to the lumberyard by the house to pick it up. Is the cheapest place around. Was $105, and they didn't have any in stock. So I started calling around all over the place. And hey, Lala Farms, thanks. Greetings from South Louisiana. So we ended up going around and looking and ended up having to go to Lowe's and pay, with taxes, was $179 for one roll. I was hoping to get 2, but I just couldn't see spending that much. I'm outside piecing together the wire right now. I had an old roll that was partially rotted, so putting that together, and it's taking longer than I want, but it's coming together, and I'm way over budget on what I was expecting to spend already. The guy in the lumberyard told me if you spent $6 on a board 8 months ago, you're spending $18 on that board now, and he ain't lying. Price is ridiculous. Lala, there's really no rhyme or reason to what I got going on. It's more along, chatting about whatever we feel like chatting about. I just wanted to visit. Anybody that wants to come up, I'll post the link in the description, and people's more than welcome to join. Outside I was working and it started raining, so figured to come in here and get some visiting going on. Somebody's phone's hollering. They got phones all over the house over here, Lord. You can see the cat in the background on the blanket. That's his blanket. But yeah, man, the price of everything just going crazy. My sugar soil, I called Thursday morning. I was going to go pick up sugar soil, and they no longer have it. They're not going to be getting any more. They're not going to be making it. So that put a big dent in what I was looking at. Called around, found some other stuff. It's not quite as good, and it's twice as expensive. So it's either get hay, old, composted hay out of a rice field, cow pasture, where to fill the beds up and deal with all the grass and everything that comes with it, or spend twice the money. So we're gonna fill it with the compost. Yep, that's ridiculous. The price on it. It's just crazy. And listening, I was working outside and listening to some videos this morning. One of them came up. They were talking about the food shortages and the prices of everything. It's crazy. They're predicting coffee to triple in price. Sugar's going to triple in price. It's just everything's going to be crazy. I don't want to talk about that. That's want to talk about growing. We got what's up, Tin Can Gardener? We got about 400 tomatoes started right now, and we'll be transplanting them probably after I get off of here if it's still raining. I'm hoping it's just a shower passing, but according to the radar, it's going to be a while. So if when I get off of here, we're going to start transplanting all those tomatoes. I finally had a good run. Yeah. I have a twin brother, Lala Farms, and he was talking about building a house, and I mean, he was looking to pay it cash. He doesn't have kids and stuff, but he was looking to pay cash. And in the 3 months while they were trying to get the design and everything, the price actually doubled on him. So he's back to staying where he's at. It's crazy. How you doing, Peanut? What's up, brother? Let's see. We'll put the join link up again. If anybody wants to join. I know you don't want to sit here and listen to me blah, blah, blah the whole time. But yeah, the raised beds are coming along. It looks nice. It looks real neat, the trellis for the cucumbers. Hey, Miss Gail, how's it going? It's been a while. I haven't been able to get many videos in lately. We've been ridiculously busy here. It's going to look cool. 200 feet of cucumbers we're going to have to plant. At least 200 feet of tomatoes in the raised beds. And then we have 50 more feet of row to be able to put whatever we want. Not row, but raised beds to put whatever we want. I hadn't started on that yet. It's just an open bed. We're going to be filling that up and not exactly sure what we can put, if it's going to be more tomatoes or more cucumbers or if it's going to be peppers. I got you, Peanut. We got an Arctic front coming through. I was planning on planting the greenhouse tomorrow, but we have an Arctic front coming through, and I don't feel like wasting no tomato plants. Hey, Mr. Robert, how's it going? Morning cup of coffee, brother. I done had my cup of coffee at 2:15 this morning. I was drinking coffee. I was outside again at 3 o'clock, a little bit earlier this morning than normal. Yeah, that Arctic front coming through. We're looking at 19 degrees by Friday, and I haven't put any heat or anything in the greenhouse yet. So I'm not going to take the chance with it. I have the pumps and everything circulating right now just to keep the water, and I'll probably turn it on and, let it flow, every hour throughout the night for 15 minutes or so, just to keep it up. Brother, if I'm holding the line on it, Mr. Robert, you done got it. I'm way further south than you, brother. But yeah, I didn't want no part of it. I was so excited. We got the greenhouse, the buckets in, ready to plant, got the perlite in them and everything, and just a late frost coming in for us. This is really late. Usually we'll get down in the high 30s a couple times before March, but nothing like this. It's been a long time. Oh man. Somebody gotta join. The buckets, we painted all. Well, I painted all the buckets. I started with the spray cans, and that was taking a while, and finally found some enamel spray paint, gallons of paint for $20 at Tractor Supply. They don't advertise it on the website. So I picked that up, and I'll use a $10 automotive paint gun and sprayed everything down. Went a lot faster. Oversprayed quite a few of my dragon fruits, but it looks like they may have liked it. They're starting to put out side shoots already. The dragon fruits are just in my garage. We pick them up and we put them in there for the wintertime. When probably middle of next month, we'll be taking them back, putting them back outside. Oh man. Oh no. Lala Farms. That's cold, brother. Man, that's cold. That's similar to when I was working in Ohio. Right now, I think we're at 50 degrees. Let's see. 52 degrees right now. It feels colder than that. They have a decent wind blowing and it's humid outside. So it feels worse than it is, and then it started raining. Wow. Tin Can Gardener's coming in. Maybe. How's it going, brother? Maybe. Don. Try him again in a little while. Might have lost service. Man. Mr. Robert, you still in here? How's your I am Britton Farm. I am about 45 minutes to the west of Morgan City. I worked out there a lot when I was just out of high school. I've been in the oil field since I've gotten actually before I got out of high school. I was working at a place, and so yeah, about 45 minutes. Did a lot of work over there in the Houma area. Got two ball. Got Don, right? Tin Can Gardener. Yep. All right, and Mr. CB also. How's it going, y'all?
What's going on?
Nope. I think Don froze again. How's it going, Mr. CB?
Am I lagging?
No, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you fine.
Okay, how's it going?
Cold and wet, Bo. Cold and wet.
Cold and wet. What's the temperatures over there?
We'll be lucky to get 40 degrees a day.
Oh my! I can't do that.
I'll be back.
All right.
I lost half of my garden.
You lost half of your garden, man?
Oh yeah. Got cold.
Got cold.
Well, I did a video. And what I noticed is if you don't have a microclimate outside, you're kind of like, okay, my house is right here, and I have all these trees and stuff right here. And it blocks all that coldness and it absorbs heat and releases it at night. Right. So it's actually like a microclimate, and I didn't lose nothing in these beds. But over in my other bed,
lost you again.
Crazy.
Get somewhere the trees seem to hold the frost off the top of them. I noticed even the temperatures in the greenhouse will get down below freezing, but it holds the frost, off of them, and it makes all the difference in the world. Just keeping the frost off of everything. In the garage, my garage doesn't, whatever the outside temperature is, my garage is the same. And the dragon fruits don't like cold, but it got down to 28 degrees. I didn't lose any dragon fruit, but it was 28 when they were outside, and the frost got on them, and the frost beat them up bad.
Oh yeah,
lost a lot of stuff with the dragon fruit. A lot of the side shoots that were growing out. I bought one cutting. I let it grow last year, and I was trying to let the side shoots grow out for them to where I can replant. I want four plants in each tub when I'm growing. So I was trying to do that, but I lost between the hurricane. I lost 60 something cuttings blew off during one of the hurricanes, and then You know, I probably lost another 20 or 30 of them with the frost that we had.
Yeah.
And
I
tips
got.
on.
Well, did they turn like? Do you got? Whenever you got dragon fruits, do you get like necrosis on them, like dark brown spots, and they start rotting around there?
Yeah, and there's different things that causes that. The best thing whenever you see it is to try to spray a little bit of
Copper
Oh.
fungicide.
no, not no, it's not alcohol. It's peroxide.
Peroxide.
Yeah, they say to spray a little peroxide on it, and if that doesn't
Okay.
work, they say to cut it out at least 3/8 of an inch around the outer part. You know, the dark, the brown. Cut it out, and it'll scab itself over. If you leave it, it's going to continue to rot and follow all the way up.
Yeah, it's necrosis, and it's no good. I got a bunch of dragon fruit here, and you see, I thought I didn't know nothing about dragon fruit, and I thought it wasn't going to get all that big, and I found out differently and how it
Oh, yeah.
vines and stuff. But whenever mine flower, I really haven't gotten any fruit because I get these little bugs up in there, and the fruit will rot.
You still have to pollinate them. They're basically hand pollinating. They won't pollinate themselves, and some of them aren't self pollinating. You need to have a you could check out Mr. Ty at Spicy Exotics. Is the same. He has a YouTube channel, and he also sells dragon fruit cuttings. That's where I got most of mine. But he has some videos on that. Not all dragon fruit are self pollinating, even though they take the pollen from it. The pollen might be sterile. Most of them are. So you have to have a pollinator around to be able to use it.
Well, I got bees, and my bees will get in there and do it.
Yeah, but if
it's
your
not at
the
night.
flowers only open at night and the bees aren't active at night,
In the morning, they'll get in there in the morning, but the pollen's wet.
right? The pollen's wet. But then again, if you don't have the right type of the dragon fruit, if the dragon fruit flower, if it's a sterile pollen that it has, you're going to need to get another dragon fruit that is a pollinator. That it still makes fruit and everything, but you can take it. He actually goes around with a pan, and the flowers
I think I've seen that video.
Yeah, he does he did well with them, but yeah, that's what he does. And I did the same thing. We had one flower that opened. I went outside. They put it off an obscene amount of pollen.
Right.
And then I went and I did it myself, and I was lucky that it was a self-pollinator. We got it from Lowe's. One of my friends gave me a cut, and it came from Lowe's. It wasn't even the same type of dragon fruit that the picture showed it was supposed to be.
Wow. Well, I figured I'd stop on and see what y'all were doing. I'm going to hop off because I think my wife just sent me a
All right, man.
message.
Have a good one.
Yeah, I'll catch up with you guys later. I'm definitely going to still be watching. I might sign in later, depends on how long you're on. All right.
Do that, man. All right, take it easy. Let's see.
I'm back.
Early birds, how's it going, brother? Sorry, we're talking about dragon fruit. Yeah, Mr. CB, we were just talking about dragon fruit, so you didn't miss much. You don't grow no dragon fruit.
Well, I'm at work, so if a customer comes in, I'll just blank out.
No worries. That pan installation you got on your greenhouse looks nice.
Thank you, sir.
That's gonna be nice. Oh,
You was talking about the prices and all. I went up to Lowe's yesterday to get a few boards and an electrical box, breaker box to split the greenhouses off. And I just can't believe the prices of this stuff.
I've been collecting stuff for a while. I have 3 breaker boxes that I'm going to be putting in each one of the greenhouses. One of them's, it's never been out the box, but it's like 15 years old. I bought it and we misplaced it. So I bought another one to replace it, and then we ended up not even putting power in that building. So I had 2 of them sitting there.
Right.
Uh,
Well, I got to try to figure out how to split the 2 on there, because the way we got it rigged up underneath the house itself, it's just one wire running off of a dual 15 breaker, and then it's split under the house going out to both greenhouses. So what I want to do is jump off the pepper house and just go into the new greenhouse, and I want to install a 2 breaker box inside the pepper house to run the pepper house and the new greenhouse off of it.
you just gonna be running at 110 though, right? You're not running 220 to it.
Yeah, just 110. But
Yeah.
I want a breaker for each one of them just in case something happens.
Right, that shouldn't be difficult.
Yeah.
I couldn't explain it.
I just got the 3-wire running out there though, so I might have to jump across the top of the 2 breakers to give power to them too.
Right. How's it going, Mr. Bill? How you doing, Barnyard Chicken? Yeah, I know how to do some electricity, but I'm not, looking at it, I could do it, but my stepdad showed me, and he could barely read and write. So, it's not for me to explain it, especially over this. No.
I work in DC, so I'm not really that smart with AC. My son was an electrician by trade, and of course he's down in Sarasota, so he's 12, 13 hours away from me.
Yeah, so it's a long trip to go install a breaker.
Yeah, I'll figure it out or have a meltdown one, right?
Well, the other breaker trip, hopefully, if something's not right.
Well, that's just the main thing that I'm wanting. The condensation on the greenhouses, because I don't have that plastic that has the film on one side.
Right.
I did order a single sheet to go over the new greenhouse that has the coating on one side. That was $100 for just to cover the top of that one greenhouse with the coating on one side. But I want that. I mean, you seen how much condensation in my tomato house was. Oh my God, man. And I can't ventilate. Ventilation is the biggest thing on these greenhouses, but how do you ventilate a greenhouse when it's freezing outside?
Well, that's what I was about to say. I've watched different videos and read, with the fan and stuff you have, they figure there's a formula somewhere that you could figure out the amount of square footage you have, how long you need to turn your fan on in the middle of the night to pull that air out. But then again, you're going to be pulling cooler air in, so you have to reheat everything. But if the heat's not the issue, if you're worried about the condensation, there's ways to prevent the condensation, but it's detrimental to your plants when you're doing it.
Yeah, exchanging air is critical to a greenhouse, and when you got it sealed up, though, I mean, propane at $2.99 a gallon, you can't just suck all your warm air out and reheat it.
Yeah, you can't give away the propane. Yep,
it's not worth it. It just ain't worth it. I got that one sheet for the new greenhouse, so it won't have the condensation as bad in that one. I'm just going to use the regular greenhouse plastic on the front and back, but I got a sheet that'll cover the top.
I'm pumped up. I'm ready. That polar vortex coming in this late's messing me up, though.
Did you see what's coming next weekend?
That's what's going to hit us next Friday. It's going to be here
next Sunday for us. Well, actually, they're calling for a little snow and ice tomorrow. I mean, this Sunday. But the following Sunday, on Valentine's Day, they talking about that vortex is going to knock the fire out of a lot of places. Man, that is a pretty mean system coming.
Yeah, they're talking about us having a same type of issues like for a hurricane. Early Bird Farms. I can't remember his name, but he said, "Would a dehumidifier in the greenhouse, would that help with the condensation at night?" He said it probably wouldn't.
No,
might be bad for the
you
plant.
have to have one heck of a doggone dehumidifier to pull that. I mean, it don't just drip in the greenhouse; it pours.
Oh yeah,
condensation. I mean,
the lean-tos I had on my old greenhouse would leave. The water. It had the coating on it to prevent the condensation.
Right.
But the condensation would still hold, but on the other ones, it would roll off to the side in the middle section. But it didn't have enough angle, so it would just sit there and it wouldn't fall until you close the door. Oh, man, you talk about cold. Mr. Bill's on now. How you doing, Mr. Bill?
All right, how are you?
You met Mr. CB before?
Not until just now.
Yep.
Trying to find a way to
see Ronnie's in the house. Hello, Mr. Ronnie.
Ronnie, that's it, Ronnie. I'm bad with names. Bad.
You can see the state of my growing situation in the background here.
You're about to get kicked off. You got a little bit going on.
But tomorrow I got one shot in the morning to try to. I'm gonna go ahead and see how far I can get with the screen in the bottom of that greenhouse and get the wiggle wire tracks on. And I'll probably be about the extent of getting that done. Monday is going to be my tribute memorial to Wayne up there at Spring Hill Farm.
Oh, okay.
Patty gave me permission to use a few clips off of hers where they asked me to help them with that nutrient and all. And I put in a few clips and all of them. But pay good attention. You talked to me the other day about 2 plants versus running 2 stalks off of one. All right. If you watch that clip I put in there, you'll see exactly how 2 stem is a better deal than doing 2 plants. You'll understand a little bit more what I was trying to say when you see what she showed on that video.
I'm sure I'll watch it. You're talking about the video they had in the with their blocks, the new blocks they were using. Yeah, I've watched the video.
I got clips of it in there because I wanted to make sure I called all that high-fiving each other and teamwork. I mean, it's pretty emotional, so you get ready.
Okay.
That's Spring Hill you're talking about?
Yeah, Mr. Wayne, he passed away.
I don't know. Maybe I was thinking of one or a different one. Is it up in Canada?
Yeah, they do the big lettuce runs and everything.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a channel I watch.
Yeah, he passed away.
So this is interesting. I don't know them that well. It was a girl, and I'm going to describe her. She had very unique lipstick. Is that her?
I'm not sure.
And then I got to check them out. I got to see on the other computer if that's the one I'm looking at. Hold on.
It's Spring Hill Farms. They got a huge setup.
I'm pretty sure that's who I'm watching. I can't imagine it wasn't. Wow.
Hey, Jess, how's it going? Anybody, the link's up top. I'll put it again. If anybody else would like to join in, y'all are more than welcome. Oh, my queen just got in. Apparently, she's not working.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I see this. Wow.
Well,
Yep.
I wish this was a normal.
I'm just picking this up. I do watch them very regularly. I
Yep.
didn't know.
Very sad. Very sad.
Oh man.
It was a
Well,
shock.
I mean, I don't want to get into it, but what happened? Do we know?
He had a heart attack. Very, very unexpected.
Oh man.
Yep.
Hate to keep buzzing out, but
Oh, no worries.
you got customers, you got to make the money, right?
Oh yeah, I'm just like I said at the beginning. I just wanted to visit. It's raining outside, and anybody wanted to come up and get some visiting. I hadn't been able to watch a whole bunch of videos with everything going on.
You don't watch my videos anymore.
I don't watch no videos.
That's right. Let's
You
get
watch
that
my
straight.
videos.
Let's get that straight.
Lately, I really haven't been watching many videos. Yesterday, I started at 3:30 in the morning. Colt got off the bus at 3:15. I was in the front at 3 o'clock answering the comments from the video. Came in, I cooked supper, and I went back at 5 and I worked till it got dark. I couldn't walk no more. I was worn out. And then,
Well, you had a rough day yesterday.
oh yeah, yesterday was bad. I mean, I wasted 2.5 hours running around looking at cement wire. It was horrible. I left. I went to Lowe's, pick up some stuff I needed at Lowe's. Then I ran to the lumber yard by the house, and they usually have everything. I walked in expecting to pay about $80, $90 for a roll of cement wire. The guy's like, it's $105. I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
And he's like, we don't have any. So I'm like, I had an old roll at the property. I went pick it up. I unrolled it. When I got to 50 feet, about every 5 feet, it was breaking. So I didn't want to put that on the upper part on the cucumber trellis. I have the hoops on the top, and I'm putting that cement wire on it. So I didn't want to put that on the upper part with it breaking. I didn't want big holes in the top of it. So I went to Lowe's. That was the only place that had any. $179 with tax for a roll of cement wire.
When you say that, what are you talking about? Is it just a reinforcing wire for cement?
They had a remesh, the 150-foot roll of remesh. It's a 5-foot remesh.
Wow.
$179. Yep.
What kind of gauge is that? That's heavier than a fence gauge then, right? But not as heavy as a cattle panel?
Yeah, well, it's about. I got. In fact, the one I got at Lowe's was the smaller gauge. It's not even the bigger one. I'm not sure what the gauge is, but it's about the same as a hurricane fence. You know, big around, maybe a hair bigger. I didn't want the big ones because I had to fold it over the edges. It went on the top of the arch, and the last 6 inches of it folded over. So
what you showed pictures of, then the support going across the top. That's
right.
just the support. Now you're going to put something across that.
The cement wire runs across that. That's what I was working on yesterday. I have both of those done.
Not like a roof, but it'll be like
it'll be the trellis. So the cucumbers will be able to grow up the sides and then over the top, and then start growing their way back down if they make it that long. Growing the dash of two cucumbers.
The wire you want to put on goes between the two hoops that you put up.
Right.
It runs lengthwise.
Right.
Down
it's like 53 feet long. Excuse me. Okay. It's like 53 feet long because I have a walkway between the beds. So it runs completely from one where you walk in all the way into the other one. And, you know, I put it up first on the first, and I put the wire up. It went a lot easier than I expected. I rolled it on, and after I put it on and stretched it out across the top, you know, where the hoops were, it was good, but in between the hoops, it was flat. It was sagging in.
Right.
So I went back to Lowe's to look for some pipe over there. I was going to try to use the conduit, the electrical conduit. The 1/2-inch electrical conduit was, the last time I went to pick some of that up, it was $2 and something a joint.
What is it now?
It was almost $4 a joint. You know, it wasn't quite double the price it was the last time. So, and the 1/2-inch wouldn't have been strong.
I'm glad I bought my fence railing for the greenhouse last year.
Yeah.
It's that's not going to get cheaper either.
No, it's not. I mean, I actually paid for everything I have in the backyard. The pipe, it was $350 more when I bought it than when I got the price. You know, the price on everything was just going up, and it's gone up tremendously since. I've been having most of it for 6 months. Has been pretty much sitting there.
Well, I guess I there's lots of prices now I'm starting to see creep up, and the one that just hit me, and I thought it was a joke. The wife bought a new Subaru. I bought a new Ford about the same time. My Ford, every time I go to get anything done, it's all covered. I'm like, I don't even know why. It's just they got points, and they're giving me oil changes and inspections. And she takes her car to the Subaru dealer. I think she's doing her annual inspection, so she's had it a year. And they want $75 to change the oil. And I said, $75? What the hell are they changing it with?
It's probably.
And I said, well, don't do it. Just come home. I'll do it. Or I'll figure. That's crazy.
They're probably using synthetic oil. Sheena's car is costing right at $60 to do the same thing.
The synthetic. I don't think the synthetics. I mean, all right. So it's been a little while since I bought oil, because when I buy it, I buy the gallon jug, and I have it when I see it on sale. I buy it and I do my own oil changes. And I got this new car van a year ago, a little over a year, and it's too fucking close to the ground. It's a really strange vehicle. It's a Ford Transit Connect. It's like a minivan, but more like a shop van than a family van.
Right.
But this one was done up to be like a family minivan, which I have no use for, but it was cheaper than me finding one that was like a work truck. So it's got leather interior. It's got crazy shit that I've already taken out of it. But I can't get under the thing to do an oil change. It's too low to the ground. And I decided, all right, I'm old. I should just be paying somebody. So I go to the Ford dealer where I didn't even get it from I went to a local Ford dealer. I had this delivered from 300 miles away in upstate New York. They drove for an extra $25. They were willing to deliver a vehicle to Long Island. And I was like, that's just not making any sense to me, but I guess you got a vehicle you really can't get rid of. So I bring it to the local dealership, and I'm thinking I'm going to pay a lot for the dealer. And when he gives me the bill, it says nothing. It's $0. I said, how's that? He goes, well, you had points. And I was like, what are you talking about? So apparently Ford they must have some sort of points program. I don't know. I probably paid for it somewhere, but I didn't pay a dime, so it didn't register with me. But when she said 75, well, we looked around. The cheapest we found was the local guy wants 65. And I was like, well, I guess then for $10 more, you could have had it done at the dealership, and just kept going there for a while. But now I'm looking at it going, well, if those are the prices, I guess I'm crawling under cars again, because
Yeah.
I don't pay that money for that kind of stuff. I'm too cheap.
I gotta have jacks and jack stands because I don't fit under my truck, much less a van or the car to
No,
change.
I have a 4-wheel, what do you call it? A Toyota 4Runner since 2005. I love this truck, and I've always done everything on it myself just because I don't trust people. But the one time, it's kind of crazy. The one time I had to trust somebody was the dealership. The idiot light came on, and it was saying that there was, the idiot light came on, and the car wouldn't do more than 25 miles an hour. It was like a safety mode.
Yeah.
So I just drove it to the Toyota dealer, and they said, well, it's some sensor for the air pollution crap. I said, okay, what's that going to cost me? And they were like, oh, about $3,500. I was like, whoa. Any chance it's, I'm 135,000 miles on this vehicle, and it's 20 years old almost, 15 years old. Toyota covered the repair.
Really?
They paid for everything.
That's crazy.
And I was like, wait a second, are you shitting me? They're like, no, this is like, he said it was like just before the category of it being a major recall. And he said they were just dealing with it on a case-by-case basis. I asked the question because when I had this problem, I tried figuring out what the hell it was by looking up on the internet. And the first thing I hit was exactly what it was. It was an air sensor. And the problem is when it goes bad, the whole compressor and everything has to be changed. Wow. And it's like they got to take the heads off. They got to do all kinds of crazy stuff. And it turns out that I guess if it gets much worse, they would have had to have done a recall, but they didn't. So they've been just, as people complain and bitch, they've been just saying, okay, we'll pay for it. A courtesy, as they called it.
Yeah, if somebody wants to go in and they don't complain about it, you just get it done, then they take it. If somebody complains a little bit, they fix it.
You know, funny thing is, I got this truck that's got only 135,000 on it from 2005. So it's low mileage for the year, and I keep it to pull my trailer. But I love the freaking vehicle. It's just been the best vehicle I've ever owned, and that would have been the only problem in the time I've had it. The only problem with that car. And
I had a friend that had a 4Runner, and he put almost 400,000 miles on it with no issues.
I didn't really know what I was buying when I bought it. And in fact, I bought it in 2005, 2 weeks before Hurricane Katrina. And I remember sitting at the dealership going, V8 or V6? And I said, fuck it, let's go with the V8. Gas ain't that expensive. Well, from that point forward, the gas went through the roof. You know, it went to like $4 a gallon and stayed there for 10 years. But I kept it. It gets 22 to 25 miles to the gallon on the highway. It's full-time 4-wheel drive. It's 8-cylinder. It's a freaking crazy, amazing truck.
Yep.
But
some great
now
trucks.
it's 15 years old, and I'm thinking it's going to leave me in the road somewhere someday. And I figured it's time to get something new with, just new. And this friggin' truck has got more. The other day, an alarm went off on it. A burglar alarm. I didn't even know it had.
Hey, Ronnie, have a good day, man. Thanks for stopping by. Why don't you tell us about your seeds and your seed starting behind you? What you got going on?
You see that? Yeah. I have, let's see. These are the racks I have over here. They're the basic wire racks. Everybody can pick them up at Home Depot.
Right.
I got 2 of them. I'm going to stand up here and try to get a better view. 2 of them that I'm using right now. This one's kind of full. This one's got some on the heat pad somewhere up here. There we go. But I don't have lights on. This one I just started, taking some stuff out and getting them on lights. And I'm way ahead of my season. I mean, you say you're behind, but I'm ahead. And I'm ahead because I'm bored, like I was last year. But I'm going to come over here and show you my situation. That's my tomatoes. Nice and leggy.
Nice and leggy.
So I kept them in the dark probably 2 days too long, and that's what happened. So I'm almost on the verge of just bailing out on this batch here. But as I come down, let me see down a little further. That's my peppers. And they're doing a lot better. I don't know if you can see them.
Right. The peppers tend to grow slower, so
So they're at a better state right now than the tomatoes were. But I'm learning about, you learn from your mistakes. You like the T-shirt, I hope.
Yeah, I love the T-shirt. I
have to wear it.
That's why I like planting my tomatoes in the pans. In the pans, and I'm you might have seen them in some of the videos. I let them grow up. Once they get just about where they can start putting on their first true sets of leaves, that's when I transplant them into the 6-packs or whatever I'm putting them in. That way I plant them deep, and they don't seem to be as leggy when they start their second life, I guess.
I guess I've seen people do things like even starting their seeds on paper towels and stuff, and then they transplant them, as you're saying,
Right.
and even into the small cells. It doesn't have to be like a big full flower pot.
Right. And I just do it like that because I feel, especially with the tomatoes, that I always have the issues with them coming up leggy because I don't put a fan on them. So,
Yeah.
they come up and they grow real fast, especially if we add any type of, we put them a little hydroponic solution once in a while, even super thin, but it's still, they jump with it. So I just like when I know I'm going to have to replant them at some point anyway. So I just take them and I let them get up to about 2.5 inches, and then we'll put them into 6-packs and they'll be real small again.
It's these things that you live and learn, right? So last
Yep.
year I started early, stopped, and then started again because of COVID. Right. And so March, I literally just said, all right, this is going to be a waste. I stopped halfway through March. I was like, I'm bored out of my head. I got to do something. So I started again.
It's nice to be retired.
See, stay again.
I said, it's nice to be
I hear
retired.
what you said. Oh, yeah. It's nice when people send you free clothes and you're retired. So what happened was the plants I started early, they were leggy to start with. That was no secret. But because they where's my light? They go up, they fall down, and then they hook and they start going back up. Wherever they came back down, they started rerooting.
Growing leaves.
So I wound
Roots.
up having trays with massive knotted roots, and I guess I probably should have just dumped those trays, but I didn't. And I started looking into, all right, well, what am I going to do with these? How can I save this? And so I went to the dollar store, and that's where I picked up these $1 flower pots and figured, all right, I can transplant these things into that, especially if I coil up the stem
Right.
and just bury it so it'll become root. And lo and behold, that became the $5 tomato plant instead of the $2 tomato plant. And what really was a screw up beyond, I couldn't have screwed up more, turned out to be, wow, this whole $2 in the solo cup thing isn't exactly as profitable as the $5 screw up in the flower pot. I mean,
Especially when you're going to be throwing it away.
Right. That would have been I think the loss of the seedling monetarily would have been, the cost of a seed bag.
Right.
It wouldn't have been so bad. But I don't know. I just did what I did. Now I'm looking at these going, crap, that's what's going to happen to these. I'm thinking maybe I should just dump this and not worry about it because it's early and I can replace them. I was thinking along the lines of starting early because I'm bored, but figuring, well, it wouldn't hurt to have a larger plant in addition to the smaller ones. So the one that looks a little further along, I could feel a little better about saying, all right, that one's a $5 plant. This one's only $2.
Right.
Whereas,
Thanks for coming over, Law Farms. Yeah, I mean, you might end up with the same situation. Instead of being later in the season, you might have some $5 pots earlier in the season.
Yeah, and I've been sourcing pots and stuff like that, and I have found better alternatives in the dollar store.
Really?
Well, figure $1 a piece versus now I got it down to about 50 cents a piece for a flower pot that'll do the job.
Right.
The one from the dollar store was prettier, but that wasn't what I was selling. I was selling a tomato plant, not a pretty flower pot. So it was weird. Some people, I think, were turned off by the $5 tomato plant because they thought that it had to stay in the flower pot. And I was like, well, no, that's just
Yeah, that just
was just being a piece of junk, but that's what I had to use to get stuff in a pot. I didn't know where else to go.
Yeah.
So
the local nursery actually does the same thing you did. When the tomato plants end up, above 12 inches, they'll take the same pot that they actually put them in, dump the dirt out, roll it around in the bottom, and stuff it back in.
Yeah.
And they'll turn around and sell it like that.
Meaning putting it back in the same pot?
Yeah. They just knock the dirt, they'll pull the plant out, shake the dirt off, and then they'll wrap it back in the same, it's about a 2.5 inch tall pot. They wrap it back in the same pot, fill it with dirt again, water it in.
They'll actually take it out and put it back. Okay.
Yep.
I mean, I didn't have a game plan. I was making it up as I was going. I was building greenhouse space as I needed it. I was doing whatever I just, this is what I did.
Yeah, your greenhouse wagons.
Say again?
Your greenhouse wagons.
Yeah. I had, 3 of them, I guess,
Yep.
And that's what, and that's the motivation to say it doesn't make sense to have one greenhouse instead of 3 greenhouse wagons. And the answer is it's maybe because it's not, I don't need that for long. I just need it for the period of time that it's going to take to get them from, transplant to sold.
Right. And I mean, the way you do it with your greenhouses, you basically use your wagon and bring it to the front to sell out of.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to be taken out of your greenhouse to bring to the front to be able to sell. So there's going to be a lot more work involved with it.
Yeah, the logistics, it's kind of funny. You have to put it in perspective for anybody that might be listening. Is I live on Long Island in a very urban area, suburban area, whatever. It's kind of crazy here. I only have a third of an acre of property, and my driveway or my house happens to be on not a busy road. It's not a highway, but it's an access road for the communities that are around here. So I get enough traffic going by. Like, you wouldn't want to have little kids running around in the front of my house. The road wouldn't be safe enough for that. Although plenty of people do. I personally never had kids, so it's not an issue. But, the location became, they say location, location, location. So I have a location that works, but I have to deal with neighbors too.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, I have no problems with my neighbors. I didn't want to create problems. And at the same time figured, well, if I give them all tomato plants, if I really, butter them up a little bit, I should have no problem. So I haven't had a problem. But at the same time, I'm also mindful that if I keep this going, it's going to catch attention, and, how can I minimize it? So last year, if you saw videos, I built that smaller, cuter veggie wagon, and I used that to have a much smaller visual imprint. Like people knowing it, people who'd know I was there, they'd see it. It wouldn't need to be anything. And then it wouldn't be a big attention getter for people and create a problem for my neighbors. So this year, I kind of want to scale back what I'm dragging out to the front of the house, making it more effective. So maybe I won't take the big wagon I have is kind of a pain in the ass because it's so big and it's in a freaking backyard that's not so big, so I'm constantly moving it around and dodging it. But if I could get rid of that, then the two smaller ones, the little chicken greenhouse, chicken tractor greenhouse, that one's fine. And then I have the 5x10 trailer that I can make into a greenhouse. So if I did do something like along the lines of a trellis that I could cover to be sort of a greenhouse and then take it off for the summer so that it's really just not greenhouses. I don't know that I want to get into the problems of growing in a greenhouse. There's a benefit to it. I know that. But it's also easy to throw it in the ground if you don't have problems with bugs and so on and just keep going like that.
Correct.
So,
with the little space you have, putting a greenhouse out there is going to, it would be nice, but you're still not going to end up with what you want unless you put electricity and some type of heat back there with the climate you have. You'll get a little bit more growing time out of it. But yeah,
I would have to be heating it. And for that, I have a kerosene, I don't know, I call it a torpedo heater, one of those things. And the good thing about that is I can hook that up to a temperature controller. It'll turn on and off just like an electric heater.
Oh, that's cool.
If I set that up, I can have it, somewhat controlled. I wouldn't be trying to make it 80 degrees. I would just be keeping it from freezing.
But you need to I read those heaters aren't real good for inside a greenhouse.
They're probably not good inside my garage either, but I use it there.
With the diesel burn off, it's just for the plants. It's not. That's what I read.
Yeah.
You read on the internet, you'll find both ways. Some people say it's no issue. Other people say it's an issue. Yeah. Just do your research.
Right. It's funny. I'm sitting here in front of, I don't know if I can see it here. You see that little wood stove?
Yep. That's a nice stove.
I bought that off of Craigslist a year ago, figuring, that would be a perfect little heater for a greenhouse. So
that's a lot of work.
Well, my advantage is I wouldn't be doing it every day. I'd be I'd have to be hoping that during the day there's sunshine, so I don't need to worry about it early in the season when there's sun out.
It warms up fast.
Colder, cloudy days, or like last year when we had snow after Mother's Day. You just need someplace to get a few degrees above freezing. You'd be surprised how warm it gets in a greenhouse when the sun's up. If you got any type of sun out, it warms up fast. Right. And I tolerate heat like, not at all. So having a greenhouse, I think I'd probably find it difficult to be in the greenhouse during the summer doing anything.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it appeals to me. The concept of it is great. I've even gone as far as to buy the equipment to build it. But just haven't pulled the trigger.
Right.
I'm still waiting to see how this guy down in Louisiana puts his together, get some ideas before I go further.
The greenhouse or the raised beds? You might end up wanting to do the raised.
Anything you're doing is I'm curious about.
you might end up wanting to build raised beds like I got before it's done. I mean,
Right.
I don't know how it's going to grow because it's stacked in pretty close. You know, the beds are 36
Right.
inches wide.
That's kind of what I was thinking too, that you didn't put a lot of space between them either.
Well, I mean, the walkways are 32 inches, which is
Oh,
normal.
they are. Okay. That is
yeah.
a lot.
Yeah, it looks smaller because of the piping and everything around it, and then it looks smaller because you actually have the raised beds. If it would be rows instead of blocking, you have the wood on each side with blocks. It blocks in, so it makes it's a visual illusion that it's smaller. I could pass a wheelbarrow down the middle of all the rows. I made sure I measured the outside the wheelbarrow, and I can run the wheelbarrow down each row with no issue.
I guess, I don't think of my stuff as being so much as raised beds, so much as just, I call it a box garden, meaning it's just containing. Long Island is basically a friggin' sandbar. We don't have soil. We just have sand. So drainage is zero problem. We could get 5 inches of rain in an hour, and half an hour later, it's all
bone dry.
So for me, getting, coming up off the sand is necessary, hence the raised part. But what I did was just build a box, filled it with compost and soil, anything I get my hands on, and grew in it. And things grow, at least in the first couple of years, things grow pretty crazy.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I'm doing over here. But for the opposite reason, is when it rains, that the ground doesn't dry forever. And growing tomatoes and cucumbers, you get a rain and your cucumbers will blow up overnight. Your tomatoes will split overnight. It's growing in the compost helps regulate that. It's easier for us to add water than it is to take it out.
Right. And I have no problem with getting rid of it. So it's an easy one for me that way.
Right.
Yeah, I think that it's funny because when I talk to people about where I live, it is probably one of the most insane places in this country to really actually want to live. I mean, think about it. I'm on an island with 7.5 million freaking people.
That's crazy.
And it isn't, by some standards, a real big island. It's an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours tops, driving one end to the other traffic. So it ain't that. The things that we have here that people just don't take advantage of is because we're near the water, the climate is pretty good for growing. We get a pretty consistent couple of inches of rain every month, with a little bit more in the springtime and maybe a little less in say August. But otherwise, almost every month's going to have rain. We don't have problems with like an aquifer where we run out of water because we all flush our toilet through the big sandbar and suck it back out and put it on our tomato plants. It's easy. We don't get crazy. We don't get wildfires. We don't get earthquakes. Occasionally we get a hurricane, but it's nothing compared to what you get. You get what we get as a hurricane. You guys laugh at, and it does more devastation here than a Category 5 does down by you.
But that's because we've been getting licked with, and I mean, everybody's like, oh my God, I can't believe you live right there in Louisiana. You get water in your garage. I've been here for 10 years and I've had water in my garage 3 times. It sucks because it was 3 times in the last 5 years, but in 10 years it's been 3 times. But it's everything's ready for it. It takes a little bit of prep, and we have to lift the stuff up off the ground because you just get used to putting stuff on the ground when after a while. So there's a little bit of prepping and everything for it. Move some stuff to the front yard where the water doesn't get up. But there's no way I could live on a bayou or have the house I have for the price I paid for it without it.
That was something that you particularly wanted. You wanted on the water.
I either wanted to be on the bayou or I wanted at least 4 acres, and the 4 acres, just wanting 4 acres right here basically priced me out because of the school system. It's where I went to school, but they continue to shrink the school system and put new schools further out. So I wanted to make sure, that my kid, my kids are going to school at another school. When my older daughters were going to school at another school, but they wanted to live, they wanted this house more. And, I didn't plan on having any more kids, but if I did, I wanted my kids to go to school right here.
Right.
Plastic came in, boy.
I even ordered mine. I even got my plastic in the mail.
That was quick. I only ordered that 2 days ago.
Shoot.
Yeah, mine came quick too. You get it from Farmer's Friend?
What I don't like is that come in FedEx, and they're supposed to have my Gurney seed on FedEx as well. He didn't have my package for that.
It might be a different truck passes later.
Yeah, he said that it was probably going to be one of them home delivery, special delivery type,
Smaller.
whatever.
Hey, how's it going, Mr. Brad? Hidden Harvest Grill Lights.
Hey,
Mr.
Brad.
I want to hit you up, Mr. CV. The question. One of my friends around the house bought some plastic for a small greenhouse, and they bought that 12 mil with that woven stuff in the middle of it. You think that's worth the cost? They said it's guaranteed for 12 years.
That originally that's the green that comes with the out sunny greenhouses, like when you buy them.
Right.
It has that woven in there, and yeah, it actually supports it pretty doggone good.
So
Makes it pretty doggone tough.
I'm thinking about on the next time.
12 mil now. What's the 12 mil? Is that dropping him down in the like 70s, in the 70% sunlight, the UV on it?
I'm not sure. I didn't read, what he had, and he didn't tell me. He said it was a 12 mil plastic. It's basically 2 6 mil sheets of plastic sandwiched that sandwich the mesh in the middle of it.
Right.
And I didn't get any specifics on it. I was just wondering if it's worth the cost. My thing would be if we get a big hurricane, I'd have to take it back down. So I would have to be able to put it back up. Especially if I spend that much money on it.
Well, if you're saying they're going to guarantee it for 12 years,
12. Wow.
is that what you said? 12-year guarantee?
That's what he said. Like I said, I didn't read the paperwork, but that's what he said. Guaranteed for 12 years, not to rip or discolor.
Well, the one that I was looking at with that reinforced mesh in it didn't have but a 6-year on it. This here is 4-year.
Right.
The mesh had
I've got a farm
6-year
down
on
the
it.
block from my house that has. I personally have never seen them change the plastic, but it seems as if it's been on there for could be 10 years. I don't think that would be unreasonable. Now, if he's changed it and I don't see it, I think that's possible, but I think I would notice the coloring. So I guess there's possibly product out there that go that long.
I know some. I don't know her personally, but on the Bayou Garden forum, there's a lady, Maggie, and I think they went 8 years with their plastic, and they changed it because of discoloration, not because it was
right.
They couldn't get the sunlight. And they're up there. They're around the New York area.
Yeah, and I'm thinking it's got to be a lot less UV up here than it is down.
Well, you'll notice when it starts discoloring, it gets a white film looking
Right.
mess on it. Yeah, so it's taking away your UV is all it's doing. But actually, on that reinforced stuff, like I said, them cheap covers they send with them out sunnies, they're reinforced like that. And actually, all the plastic in between it is what deteriorated, and about all the mesh that was inside of it was still solid. Yeah.
I picked up a tarp that has some reinforcement in it that I'm going to use this year to cover the chicken tractor for making it to my greenhouse. Hopefully, it'll last a little longer than just I was buying like 4 mil plastic from Home Depot.
Yeah, this new greenhouse now, I'm not even going to use the cover. I didn't even take the cover out of the box on it, dude.
Yeah, you had said
It's
that.
a single seam, just like the greenhouse number 1 was, which lasted 5 years. But I mean, the center seam did start leaking after a couple of years. But now that one on the Pepper House, that was a different out sunny, wasn't the same exact greenhouse, and it had 3 seams in it, and it leaked from the get-go. All 3 seams were pouring out.
So,
This one here, I'm not even going to use it. That's why I got that right there. I'm going to just right off the bat, why mess with it? I don't want 2-3 years. I don't want to have to change it.
well, for me, I can pick up that 3 mil plastic or 4 mil plastic locally for $25. They use it for 3 months, then they take it off and fold it back up. The only reason I bought the plastic this time, that expensive plastic, was because initially I was putting up the whole greenhouse, and I can't get a big enough sheet. So that's why I did it, and I hope I don't have to mess with it for hurricanes or anything for the next 4 or 5 years would be great. But if I do and it messes up, it's kind of, why should I go back with
Danny, you had
go ahead.
You had the shade cloth over the last storm, correct? Did that ultimately come down, or did it survive?
The shade cloth was 4 years old and it ended up ripping in a couple spots. So I took it and I actually ripped it in half. I'm going to use it to cover some raised beds in the front. It ended up being 12 feet wide after I ripped it. So I'm going to use it to cover, try to get some shade on some of the raised beds in the front yard this year. When the summertime, when it gets really hot, I think that's where we're going to end up planting the peppers, just to try to keep some of the heat off of the peppers.
Did you wind up losing, though, the covering that you had on one of them after the hurricane? The first, it was the second hurricane that came.
I didn't lose it; it just ripped. It started separating and ripping down the middle. I just pulled it, and it, I basically got on one side and I pulled it. It ripped all the way down the straight seam down to the other side.
Yeah,
We say, Jim.
Seeing you showing a video like that, where you had the shade.
Mr. Jim from Green Dream Project.
What's up, brother? Been a while. I haven't been watching many videos. Sorry. We've been getting it over here.
I'm sitting here nothing else.
Just get the fry pan out here in a little bit and get him back to work.
I seen some pictures of the on Instagram they had with all the snow. Oh my. But yeah, so I think I'm gonna end up going with that cheaper plastic. It doesn't really take a whole bunch of time to put the plastic on that small greenhouse.
But ain't you still getting that plastic from the used plastic, greenhouse plastic?
That's not what I have on it right now. I had bought it was 50 or 40 by too cool for school. It was 40 by 70. I bought a sheet to be able to do the top of the greenhouse. So I have 6 mil, brand new 6 mil plastic on the top of it.
Greenhouse plastic.
Greenhouse plastic, yeah. But if I have to take it down for a hurricane, I'm not sure how it's going to go back on. And it's kind of, spend $60, $80 per roof, or spend $25 and I can cover all 3 of them. It's going to be kind of hard to justify it. And the amount of time, 2 hours, I can put the plastic on.
And you're going to do wiggle wire this time, right?
I have wiggle wire on it. Yep, all the way around. Yep.
What's going on, bud?
How you doing?
So Dan, I'm trying CB's greenhouse, but I forgot his name.
CB, that's what we call him.
Oh, CB, okay, makes sense. And he's got a business, and he's
he
grower.
He does. He has
Wait till he gets back too. I didn't.
He does computers and stuff. Radios, working on CB radios and different types of radios and computers and stuff.
That's my hobby.
And he also has he's putting up his 3rd greenhouse. He does straw bale gardening and all kind of stuff. Yeah, he's
like us.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wealth of it.
He's doing customers. I didn't know if that was at a farm or if what kind of business that was. I get it now.
Yeah, he does sell some of his produce. Mr. Brad from Hidden Harvest Grill Light says y'all close together. He's in New Hampshire there.
I just put the other computer on so I could see the comments too.
Okay, he actually had a snowstorm that passed a while back. He put some pictures. I was like, there's no way I would be able to do that.
Where?
At his place.
New Hampshire?
The amount of snow he had in the pictures is like, no. Wow.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. Like, we're in New York, we're in New England essentially, but I don't get that much snow. Not like New England gets. It melts. Man.
We got 3 inches, and they were calling it the Great Snowpocalypse of Louisiana. I think it was 2 years ago. Hey, Miss Crystal, how you doing? Patoon, I think it is the name. They said they have 3.9 feet of snow right now. Oh, wow. I couldn't deal with that. Not at all. So Wow, been an hour already. The
3.5 through 4 feet of snow. Wow.
9 feet in 1 week, Lord. I was in Ohio and they had 2 feet in 1 week, and I wasn't doing well. That wasn't my thing.
I've often thought that I'd love to go live someplace where they get feet measured in, yards and see what it's like and live it for one winter, but never have. I was in college. The college town I went to was a good snow place, but the years I was there, we had no snow.
No snow.
Later on, I was working and I had to deal with a customer that was in the same town. We were buying concrete forms and they weren't being delivered. And I had to call and say, what's the story? And the guy's like, look, you're the first person on my list, but I got 9 feet of snow on top of it. I can't do a thing about it in the spring.
Wow.
All right, well,
Oh.
I guess they get snow there and I just wasn't there for it.
Well, they in Finland where they got the 3.9 feet of snow.
Yeah. No, mine was up in the mountains in the Catskill Mountains in New York. So
Well.
they get snow all the time. I just happened to hit a couple of years. I was only there for 2 years. I had gone to junior college and then went and finished a bachelor's. But for 2 years, they had no snow.
I've never been able to be around snow where I could just enjoy it. I don't think I would enjoy it, but when I was in Ohio working, I was working. That was the busiest time of the year for us. When it always fell. The busiest time for me was as soon as it would start getting cold, we'd start having issues. And in the portion of the oil field I work in, the cold weather is a big issue for us. So but then being up there in Ohio with the snow and the really cold temperatures, I stayed on a location one time, 4 days, and it never got above -4 degrees. And I was stuck in my truck.
In the town that I went to, it was considered to be in a snow belt in the mountains in the Catskills. My brother went to school up near the Canadian border in a town called Potsdam, and they didn't get snow, but they got cold all winter. It would get crazy cold, and you didn't get a foot of snow ever. You'd get a half an inch every day, and it never left. So by the time May rolls around, you got 4, 5, 6, 7 feet of really hard frozen stuff, and the ground is solid frozen. So you'd have, I remember going to visit my brother in college in probably May, and there was still snow on the ground. It was crazy.
No.
But that was cold, crazy cold. Where you feel your snot freeze as you're breathing. That's
how it was. That when it was -4 and I was stuck in my truck for them 4 days. In May over here,
you were stuck in your truck, did you say?
Yeah, I was on location. I stayed in my truck for 4 days. Yeah, it was
like a truck, as in a sleeper cab truck, or are you talking about
like a 4-door truck, work
geez.
truck? Yeah, we were trying to get some work done, and I had to stay on location with the guys that were working. Every half hour, I had to get out the truck, go walk around, get the numbers and get all the stuff, then go back in my truck, do the report, send it off. And it was basically a circle. By the time I'd get out, get all the numbers, get back in, get it filled out, get it sent off, it was time to do it again. And there was snow on the ground. You get out, walk around and stick to the coveralls, whatever you had on. And then when you get back in your truck, it would defrost. Then you get back out. And as soon as you get back out, it would freeze. I didn't know.
Where was this?
In Ohio.
Oh, yeah. You've talked about Ohio. I guess you've got from Louisiana to Ohio at some point in your life. And were you there a long time?
3 years.
And you met?
Yeah. That's why I stayed as long as I did. I met her. Yeah, I was there about 4 months. I met her. So the -4 is not that cold. It is for somebody from South Louisiana.
Well, I don't know. I'm curious about Louisiana as to see how it's different than, say, South Florida. But my wife's got family in New Orleans. It's her cousin and her husband, and he's got a mold remediation business.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah. Of course, he's the one who had to tell my wife what black mold looks like, and she found it in our basement.
Oh, you actually found it?
Oh, yeah. It's been here for 27 years with me. She wanted me to remove it. I said, why? It hasn't done anything to me yet. I said, I don't want to disturb it. I said, I'll throw a can of paint over it maybe, but I'm not going to go crazy.
Mr. Roberts said they had they said it drops to -40 over there in Finland. Is that Celsius or Fahrenheit? And Mr. Robert says he has a friend that went to Potsdam. She said they would dig a tunnel in the snow between the buildings for walkway.
Yep. Yeah, that was, this is a funny thing. The town happens to be on earthquake fault, which here in New York, we don't think too much about earthquakes. But when you go to that school, the dorms are maybe 4, 5, 6 stories tall, and they're designed so that if there's an earthquake, that they'll collapse in a certain way. And so when I was there,
they're going to collapse in a certain way.
Yeah, so for the schools with the fire drills and stuff, the kids, the doors, like you couldn't go out certain doors because if they did a fire drill, those would be the doors where if the building was going to collapse, it would collapse in that direction. So it was just, I can't imagine it'll ever happen, but it was just weird to think that that's how they planned this thing. And then, there's definitely a lot of underground tunnels and stuff to get between buildings and stuff. That was the only way you could deal with the weather in some cases.
They said he's saying that they would dig the tunnels through the snow.
Yeah, they could do that. Well, in some places I saw that, but again, not so much because they get big, heavy dumpings of snow. It's just that it never goes away. And so they're plowing it, maybe they plow an inch at a time and it starts to build up. You go past the shopping centers and you'd see these mountains of snow that last until well into May. But it was a crazy town, man. That was cold.
Yeah. Mr. Brad
liked it. My brother liked it and eventually moved to Montreal.
Oh, no.
And I did 2 years in the snow belt and I just didn't see any snow. So really, my college experience was much more boring compared to that.
Mr. Brad said he'll be tapping maples in about 5 weeks. I tried maple syrup. They had a lot of people in the Ohio area and they were all proud of that. But I don't find it, I'm not saying it's not good. It's after growing up with the syrups, we have, the local syrups right here from the sugarcane, especially Steen syrup. It's a real thick, robust flavor. Oh man, it's, the maple's good, but
I never even heard of that. What is it called, Danny? Steen?
Steen, yeah, Steen's STEENS syrup. Yeah.
And it's made from what?
Sugarcane.
Okay.
Yep, sugarcane. It's like a molasses syrup. Is it
like a dark brown?
Dark. No, it's black.
Okay.
It's black. It's really rich. It's
trying to come up with some things to use on, doing barbecue. I've used molasses and I've used some stuff that you can get here from like the Hispanic community, and it's I don't know what it is. I say it's like what am I thinking? I guess it's like a molasses. It's a thick dark brown. It's sweet. It's got a distinct flavor, and I've used it a couple of times as an alternative to sugar when I'm doing my curing of bacon and things like that. And I'm wondering if that's very similar. I can't think of what they call it though.
The Steen syrup. I actually use it when I do ribs. I'll put the ribs in the oven, and I do the ribs in the oven. Just
gotta grab a phone.
Birch wine. I've never had that.
Hold on 1 second, right?
You're gonna get tired of me bouncing in and out of here.
I'm gonna have to get off. Work's done called twice. I'm gonna have to get off in a little bit and finally call him back. I don't think it's important. I message him to see. We were talking about ribs and stuff like that, and brown and the different types of. We kind of got off of gardening. We were talking about Steen syrup and molasses, and Mr. Brad was talking about tapping the maples in about 5 weeks. That got me talking about the Steen syrup. I love me some.
You know I love me some baby back ribs. Now who's cooking?
Oh, I can make some mean baby back ribs. They were mad when I went back to work. They were mad I didn't spend the night with them because they wanted me to cook ribs. They ordered ribs just for me to be able to cook it for them.
Oh, so you done a turnaround, come right back then? You didn't stay overnight?
Yeah, I got on the boat. I went out, then I turned around and came back in.
Okay.
I told them I wasn't staying. Have a good day, Mr. Brad. Thanks for stopping by.
Take care, Mr. Brad.
Oh yeah, I had too much. I really didn't want to go, and they knew it because I bitched and complained the whole time I was out there.
Oh, I could hear you kicking and fussing all the way.
Yeah, it ended up being. It wasn't as bad as it was, as it could have been, but just having to leave and and go do that in the middle of everything going on. Then when I came back in yesterday, you know, everything went to bull, you know, from not being able to get the sugar soil anymore to not being able to buy the, you know, basically spending almost $200 for one roll of cement wire when I was expecting to spend that on 2 of them. It was just ridiculous, you know.
Yeah, I keep asking myself, why did I build a greenhouse during this pandemic? Yeah. It's ungodly. I mean, this greenhouse is costing 3 times more than the other ones did.
That's a good thing you bought the greenhouse when you did, because the price probably went up on the greenhouse.
Well, I looked up on that. That was a link that they had, and where you look at the bottom, there's little pictures of different greenhouses, right?
Right.
So there was one there, and I was like, well, hell, that's the one that I've got my original right there. And I clicked on it, and it come up being $219 with taxes and everything. I'm like, I pulled the trigger on it right then. It was supposed to have been $329.
Wow.
I mean, as soon as I pulled the trigger on it, just like the very first one when I bought, the next day I went and looked again, and that little icon was gone. But
no, I've been seeing them on Wish, the Wish app or whatever.
Right.
They've been showing a lot of those little greenhouses. Apparently, they sell a lot of them. That's what's been coming up on the app.
Well, the shortage of them. There's some that where I buy them from, they can't get them. They say the ship is still over at the port, just like my radios and stuff I can't get for the shop right here. They're not releasing the doggone ship out of the port from over there, so we're running out of stock of everything. And I found out that's the same thing with them greenhouses, and that's why they drove the price up over $100 more. But I looked up when I bought that one. I just looked up. What happened?
I was
I just make sure I'm still here.
yeah, you there? The living life on life's terms. How's it going?
Hey, bye.
We yeah, I mean those little greenhouses. I've been looking at them, and you know, like I talked to you about, kind of going back and forth if I want to use my third greenhouse to start plants and kind of a lettuce run, or if you know, I want to do it in hydroponics. But I'm going to have an idea how much tomatoes I'm going to be able to eat and get rid of. But you know, before I'm finished putting that whole greenhouse together. So that's going to give me an idea of it. And if I end up not using it to start seeds, I might end up getting me one of the smaller greenhouses like you have to be able to start seeds. I'd have to bring in some more dirt and do a little bit of work. And that would take some room out where I'm wanting to do my my beans and stuff in the yard. But I can put a little greenhouse like that in the yard to be able to start seeds.
Hello. I'm back.
So, how's it going, Mr. Pete? I don't want to do this, but I gotta go. I gotta call work back. They've been after me. So thank y'all for stopping by and visiting. We'll give this a shot again another time. I appreciate everybody that came on and visited with me, and everybody that stopped in and chatted. And Bynum, dude, it's cold up there. Y'all stay warm. Everybody, it's gonna be cold. Y'all stay warm. God bless. South Louisiana, boy, you gotta love it. Y'all grow that later.